Let's be honest. In order to succeed as a woman in the corporate world, there's a lot that you have to deal with. Women still face an uphill battle given that the system was neither created by nor for us. The expectations, the rules, the double standards that you are expected to follow are unfair, they're unrealistic, and often incapacitating. Now, in the fight to right the system, we often focus on educating and challenging men in order to dismantle the system that isn't working for us. And although there is a ton of work to do there, there's also a lot of work that you can do closer to home. Because sometimes, just sometimes, the person holding you back the most isn't a man, but it's the woman staring at you in the mirror every single day. Today, I want to help put you back in control of the narrative and standards that govern your life and your success. My name is Dr. Alessandra Wall. I'm an executive coach, a clinical psychologist, and I'm the founder of Noteworthy, where we focus on helping smart, driven, ambitious executive women in STEM fields and in finance build careers that are both wildly successful and deeply satisfying. In my nearly 2 decades of work, I have helped hundreds of women who deal with feeling stuck, with feeling unseen, with feeling unleveraged. And I've noticed 3 ways in which we as women often hold ourselves back. Now, I think of these as filters. They're belief systems that we think help us, that we think keep us safe. But instead, what they do is they hold us back. They obscure our view of ourselves and they distort our perception of what is possible. Today, I want to introduce you to these 3 filters so that you can recognize them and you can start challenging them for yourself. And also so you can stop bringing them into the lives of other women in your world. As I go over these filters, I would like you to do 2 things. One is I want you to think about whether or not the filter I'm mentioning applies to you. And if so, I want you to consider how it's potentially currently holding you back. And then the second thing I'd like you to consider is who else you know who might be caught up in believing these lies. So the first filter we're going to talk about is the Wonder Woman filter, aka the I should be everything to everyone at all times and I should do so perfectly filter. Wonder Woman holds you back in a number of ways. For one, she keeps you from getting the help that you need, from asking questions, from asking for clarifications, for getting support, for getting mentorship, or if you have a mentor, from actually leveraging that mentorship for fear that in admitting that you don't know something, you might actually be providing proof that you know nothing at all. The other way in which the Wonder Woman filter really tends to hold us back is she drives us to raise our hand to take on every project that's thrown our way so that we can prove ourselves, often leading us to initially look excellent, but really at the cost of massive, massive burnout. The second filter I'd like you to consider is the nice girl filter. It goes something like this. Nice girls don't brag. Nice girls don't talk up their own accomplishments. Nice girls don't argue back. Nice girls don't make a fuss. Nice girls are helpful. Fill in the blank with whatever you want to fill in the blank with. Anything that you think might be unbecoming of a lady, and you are responding to the nice girl filter. The nice girl filter holds you back in a number of ways. First, just like the Wonder Woman filter, she tends to have you working way too hard, but this time to meet other people's needs, to be likable, to be helpful. Usually, all this work is done at the expense of your own needs. And as I mentioned, that is a recipe for burnout. Beyond that, the nice girl filter really acts as a wet blanket to your ambition because nice girls don't share their accomplishments. They don't articulate their value clearly or confidently. They tend not to promote their work or ideas. And because of that, they lose visibility. Without this visibility, they're not accessing the promotions that they deserve. They're not negotiating the raises that they deserve. And they really limit, like they create their own glass ceiling in terms of opportunity. The last filter I'd like you to consider, one that unfortunately is massively reinforced by the realities of the number of women who are actually able to access high levels of leadership, is the outlier, aka the it's only me filter. The outlier filter is a filter of isolation. The outlier might be keeping you from speaking up because you start to believe that what you have to say or share is either irrelevant or proof that you don't belong. The outlier, like the nice girl filter, is often at play when you hold back from calling out inappropriate behavior for fear that you're going to be told you're overreacting or you're being an ice queen. And just like the Wonder Woman filter, the outlier keeps you from asking questions for fear of being the only person in the room not to get something. It makes you censor yourself or withhold criticism because, God forbid, you stand out in the wrong way. So, Wonder Woman, nice girl, outlier. Most of the women I know operate by at least one, if not all, of these filters. And the thing is, it's bad enough that we hold ourselves to these impossible standards, but what's worse is we often perpetuate this expectation and hold other women to this code. So now that you are aware of these three filters, it's your job to start considering where they show up and becoming more aware of them to start operating according to different standards. Know that you do not need to be there for everybody at all times. Know that you do not need to show up perfectly. Understand that being nice is wonderful, but not when it happens at the cost of your own authority, at the cost of your own needs, and at your own health. And that as unique as you might be, it is unlikely that you are the only person in a room who has a certain opinion or perspective, but by censoring yourself, you are removing that diversity of thought and therefore the potential for innovation or growth from your team, your organization, or your industry. Once again, I'm Dr. Alessandra Wall of Noteworthy, and I hope you now use this insight to change how you show up, to find your voice, own your authority, and create impact in your career.